Have you ever stopped to think about what connects the mind-bending world of artificial intelligence with the steady, powerful hum of a nuclear reactor? It might seem like a strange pairing, but today we're going to dive into why they might just be the perfect match. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with something we all do. Ask questions online. A simple Google search, right? Barely uses any power, just 0.3 watt-hours. It's practically nothing. But what happens when you ask that same question to a generative AI, like ChatGPT? Well, that number absolutely skyrockets to 2.9 watt-hours.
I mean, let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about a small increase here. We're talking about nearly 10 times the power for just one question. And think about it. As AI starts getting baked into everything, from our search engines to our apps, that massive difference is going to add up, and fast.
And that huge jump in energy use brings us to our first big topic: AI's absolutely insatiable appetite for power. We're going to take a look at the hidden energy cost of this whole digital revolution and just how big it's getting. So how big are we talking? Well, according to a report from the Electric Power Research Institute, they're an independent nonprofit, by the way, data centers could be eating up over 9% of all electricity in the United States by 2030. Today, it's about 4%. So yeah, we're looking at more than doubling the share of the entire country's energy budget just to power our data.
And you can see right here, it doesn't really matter which scenario you look at. Even the most conservative, low-growth estimates point to a pretty big jump in demand. But if you look at that higher growth scenario, the one that's really fueled by this AI explosion, that's where you hit that 9.1% mark. The key takeaway here is simple. No matter how you slice it, the trend is going up, and it's going up fast. And if you really want to wrap your head around these numbers, get this. A single, brand new, large data center, the kind they're building right now specifically for AI, can use as much electricity as 800,000 homes. That's not a town. That's a major city's worth of power for just one building. It's kind of staggering.
Okay, so it's pretty clear that this is about needing way more power. But here's the thing. It's not just about more power. It's about needing a very, very specific kind of power. And that brings us to the new energy challenge that AI is throwing at us.
You can think of it like a power prescription for AI. First, the power has to be constant. These data centers run 24/7, 365. They cannot have interruptions, period. Second, the energy has to be clean. All the big tech companies have these huge sustainability goals they need to hit. And third, it has to be concentrated. You need a massive amount of power delivered to a single specific spot. So, what on earth checks all three of those boxes?
Well, you might be surprised by the answer. It turns out a huge, landmark court ruling has totally changed the game, and it's basically given nuclear power a green light to be part of the solution.
Let's just walk through this story real quick. Back in 2020, the EU set up this system for green investments. It's called the taxonomy. It's basically a guide for what counts as sustainable. Then, in 2022, the European Commission did something pretty controversial. They added nuclear energy to that list. Austria challenged it, but if things keep going the way they are, the EU's top court is expected to throw that case out by September 2025, cementing nuclear's place as a green investment. And here is the core of the court's reasoning, and this is so important. They basically said, look, nuclear has almost zero emissions, and right now, there just aren't any other low-carbon options, like renewables, that can provide the kind of nonstop, reliable power we need at this kind of scale. That ruling sent a massive signal around the world.
So with nuclear now officially on the table as a green option, it opens the door for a very specific technology. We're talking about a new generation of nuclear power that honestly seems like it was tailor-made for this exact moment in time.
Say hello to the Small Modular Reactor, or SMR for short. Now technically, it's just a reactor with an output of 300 megawatts or less. But here's the revolutionary part, the part that changes everything. These are not the giant, custom-built projects of the past. The whole idea is to mass-produce them in a factory and then assemble them wherever they're needed.
You can really see the difference here. On the left, you've got your traditional nuclear plants. They're huge, they're custom-built, they take forever to construct, and you need a ton of water to cool them. But then you look at SMRs on the right. They're way smaller, they're built in factories like modules. You could almost call them plug-and-play. A lot of them don't even need a big water source. They can use passive air cooling. It's a totally different way of thinking about nuclear power. So why are they such a perfect fit for these power-hungry data centers? Well, it comes down to three things. One, they're scalable. As a data center grows and needs more juice, you can just add another module. Two, they provide that constant, reliable 24/7 power we talked about, the always-on energy that AI needs. And three, their footprint is tiny, which means they are a concentrated power source that you could maybe even build right next to the data center, making everything way more efficient.
Now, of course, this isn't some magic bullet. The road ahead isn't perfectly smooth. So let's wrap this up by taking a realistic look at both the incredible opportunities and the very real obstacles that are still in the way.
So, when you boil it all down, the SMR debate really looks like this. The opportunities are amazing, constant, carbon-free power that's scalable and has enhanced safety features. But the challenges are just as serious. They can still be expensive, the regulatory approvals are a nightmare to get through, and of course, there's the big one, overcoming decades of negative public perception about nuclear energy.
And that leaves us with this final, really important question. AI isn't some far-off future technology. It is here, right now, and it's growing exponentially. Its hunger for power is a fact. So the real question isn't if we're going to need more energy to power it. The question is, what choices are we actually prepared to make to provide it?